Hey guys, Naz here. Today I'm going to be taking you through how I pattern bird feet, or how I would pattern them. It's very similar to the method that I use to pattern dragon talons, but it's just a little bit different of a shape. So if we go through various pictures of bird feet, obviously they differ greatly depending on the kind of bird. They can be thick or thin, the toes can have different arrangements, etc, etc. But the method that I'm going to show you can be applied to pretty much any shape of bird foot. You just have to alter the angle, the placement, the thickness of the toes, etc, etc. But I'll go ahead and I'm going to pattern some generic bird feet, and then I'll show you how I would combine that into a machine sewn pattern. So I've just got my blank canvas here, and I'm just going to whip out my pen tool, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw. Let's find an example. If we were looking at this bird's foot, I'm going to group this part of the leg, the back toe and the middle toe, all as one piece. So it'll sort of be like an upside down T shape. Then we're going to separately pattern these side toes and then combine it all into one single pattern. So now we've got our interior piece. I just drew this off the top of my head. You can obviously make it more refined and make it match the anatomy of the bird foot that you're making. But now what we're going to do is pattern the side toes. So I'm just going to put those on a different layer. And I'm just going to draw in where I think those toes would go. So now we have our interior piece, and this piece is going to be the basis for our other two toes that go from side to side. If you want to add claws, that's really simple. All you need to do is draw them at the end of all your toes, so I'll go ahead and do that now. Alright, so now that we've drawn all our claws, I've just gone and marked in some little reference lines so I know exactly where to attach them to our main toe pieces. And I've also gone and labelled each piece. So here we have the front of the toe, the front claw, the back toe, the back claw, the side toe and the side claws. It's important to do this when you're going to have lots of little pieces that look fairly similar, just so you don't get them confused, and I've just labelled how many I'm going to need of each of these pieces. If I was sewing these, I would have the Minky nap running down. That's just my go-to way of patterning things. So now I'm going to print these out, and we're going to be sewing them up with the toes and the base of the leg in grey, and then I'm going to do some little white claws and show you how that all comes together. So I've printed out all our pattern pieces, and I've separated the claws from the toes, as you can see here. So I've made sure to put in all the little markings, so specifically the ones that show me where to line up the claws to the front of the toes, and we're just going to cut this out and sew it all together, starting by sewing the claws to the toes and then sewing the central piece together as well as the side pieces together. You can see here that I've left a little gap to put the stuffing in the side toes, and I've also left an opening at the top of the foot, so just leave an opening where it probably won't be seen. Usually keeping it at the bottom is the best bet. And you can see here a rough idea of how the foot's going to go together. Now we're just going to turn these pieces inside out and stuff them. And after we've done that, we're going to either hand sew all our pieces together, or I'm going to show you how to pattern them so that you could machine sew them from this point onward. So you can see here what our foot looks like. I'm quite happy with that result for sort of a realistic bird foot. And I'm just going to pin the side toes to the central piece where I would want them to sit. If you wanted to keep things simple, you could just go ahead and use a little ladder stitch to hand sew these side toes to the central part, or you could use hot glue if you were making some very tiny feet and your side toes were very small and didn't have much weight to them. In this case I'm going to pin them together, and I'm going to grab a pen and I'm going to mark all the points where the side toes touch the central piece, and this is going to make sort of like a circle or an oval shape. And what you would then do after that is you would unpick everything, you would scan it, and then you would copy those markings onto your final pattern. Make sure that your marker is showing up on both the central piece and your side toe piece, and as well it can also help to put in some little reference markings. So I usually put one at the top, the bottom, and both the sides, just so that when you're aligning those pieces on your sewing machine you can really make sure that they align properly. So you can see here, this is the hole that you would cut out of the central piece. You would also leave a gap on the outside toe that would correspond with where it would be sewn as a small little circular seam to that middle piece. And this is probably something I would only do if you're making a larger plushie, because it is a very small little circle that you have to machine sew. Personally, I've only tackled this if you're really experienced with machine sewing, because it can be really tricky. So that line that we marked with our pen is essentially the seam that we're going to be sewing the inner piece to the outer piece with. And I'll show you what it will look like when you push them together right here in a second. So here you can see our toe piece that has the hole where we've marked previously, and it is going to join up at that little circular seam to our central piece there. I would definitely recommend putting a little bit of wire in these toes if you want them posable, as well as if they're going to be supporting any sort of weight on the plush, because bird toes are so thin and their legs are so thin as well, you're really not going to be able to get them to support any kind of serious weight without some sort of wiring. But if the plush is just sitting or its feet are splayed in front of it, then you don't really need to worry about it. I hope you guys learned a bunch from this video. I was really happy with how that bird foot came out. You can absolutely modify it for any kind of shape or size bird foot that you would like to make. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!